overpriced repairs, and empty promises. At Schade's Auto Repair in Irwin, Pennsylvania, we do it differently. Oil changes, brakes, engine work, and more. Honest work, fair prices, every time. Serving the Irwin community right here on Route 30. Trust your car to us. Call 724-863-5788 or visit Schade'sAutoRepair.com on the web or on Facebook.
Setting low on a hometown track, dust rolling up like a freight train stack. Cooler in the bed of a beat-up Ford. Crowds getting loud cause they know what's in store. Engines rumbling like a southeast storm. Another wild night where new legends are born. Grab your hat, grab your girl, feel that grandstand shake. Everybody knows this ain't no small town state. Cause we're full throttle Thursday night at Ellen, big bright lights, rubbing doors, riding high, leaning hard through every fight. From the backstretch to turn 4, fans holler for more and more. Ain't nothing beats that heartbeat racing. Yeah, this is iNRS Racing.
All right, folks, welcome to our Thursday night series here. We're at Pocono for the Schade's Auto Repair 200. I am Rick Sousa here in the booth, joined by Jordan Booth. Jordan, it's going to be a fun one here in the hills of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, for sure. One of the most unique tracks that the NASCAR Cup Series comes to. 3 different corners and a lot of ways to mess it up.
All right, qualifying is underway right now. We've got Keenan Schade currently on track right now. Set a good time. Let's see where we're at with some best times so far. A few times are populating already.
No surprise to see the 6 car of Gortman looking stronger early here in qualifying. A lot of good cars still to go. Pretty sure that the first lap here for these guys should be the quickest with how the tires are going to heat up and everything like that going on for them, but never know, somebody might decide to put together a really good lap on their second one and jump up there and take it from them.
Yeah, we'll see exactly how that works out for these drivers. right, Keenan Schade, local boy, out there getting in his qualifying lap. We'll see where he winds up.
Looking like no improvement from Keenan on his second lap, but has a good first lap there. He's currently sitting second on the charts.
All right, Steve Tucker on track right now. Just about a minute and a half left to qualify here. Then once qualifying is done, we'll go to a 5-minute period where the drivers will go into a meeting, have some conversation, and we'll continue discussing. We'll give you an update as to current point standings and the features of tonight's event.
It looks like we only got about 6 guys who still haven't qualified. Obviously, with some of them maybe having some penalties or something like that, maybe electing not to qualify, so that way they're already back there. But see Mike Will in that good-looking 96 Camry. Currently 17th, maybe not the lap he was looking for, but long race ahead of these guys.
Yeah, 24 entries tonight in the Schade's Auto Repair 200 here in the iNRS Racing Series. Jeff Ramsdell on track now, the 97. See who else is on track qualifying. Brian Jones in the 4. Sitting 4th, I think also. Let's see who else is on track. I think that's pretty much all that's going to qualify, and that's the end of qualifying. All right, so while the drivers will head into their meeting, we'll cover a little bit about tonight's event.
So we're going to be at Pocono, 2.5 miles in length. Going to be a long and tricky track for these guys to cover. Track temp at 99 degrees. Not insanely hot for these guys to manage, but certainly one of the hotter track temps you'll see all year. Stage break's going to be at lap 26, so these drivers should be able to make it on fuel to the stage break, but one big thing to remember is that you can flip this stage if you're close enough to the leader. And that kind of plays into the fuel strategy and track position in our two of our keys of the race. Making sure that fuel tank can last as long as possible is going to be important all night, as it always is at Pocono. And then making sure that you hit your spots. It's okay to be average in 2 of the corners, but you need to make sure that you really nail 1 corner each lap to make sure you keep those guys behind and in the dirty air.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we're still toying with a different what we expect to see for drivers to come in for fuel. It could be anywhere between 30 and 35 laps. What that window will be, we'll kind of play that by ear. We do know we have a stage break at lap 26, so they should not need to come in prior to that stage break. Of course, if a caution comes out, that just destroys our calculations, and we'll just kind of pick it up from there.
And with the fuel window here being around that 30-ish lap mark, to be conservative, you should be able to make this race on just 2 stops. But, with where those cautions fall and everything like that, it could very well end up being a fuel race like it always seems to turn out in Pocono.
Absolutely. All right, with that, let's also cover a couple of things. Right now, what we do know is, let's get to the points. Right now, the cut line is at 16 for the chase. A couple of drivers there just barking at the doors at the bottom. Vince Burns and Daryl Young trying to get their way in. Well, I guess one of the biggest stories here, Jordan, is the fact that Eric LeBombard, who has been so dominant this season, has had some computer issues and really hasn't been able to compete.
Yeah, it's been unfortunate for Eric. We've seen him run up front all season long, has the most wins in the series still while missing the last handful of races. Hopefully he can get back in it sooner rather than later, but unfortunately it looks like his battle for the regular season championship is all but over at this point, but certainly still a lot to fight for, only being 30 points up of Grady Gherkin, and as we know with how the reset is for the chase, every position is worth a lot of points come to the chase time.
Absolutely. Well, we saw that position flip-flop between Grady Gherkin and Keenan Schade last week to this week, so they have changed positions, but they're still 108. Keenan's in fifth, 181 points behind Lucas Gorman. He has been the GOAT this season so far.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely the guy to beat week in and week out. Obviously, qualifying on pole this week seems like that's not going to change. If you navigate over to that stage points column, you can kind of see the tail of the tape right there. He has everybody cleared by at least 20 stage points. But if you kind of look down the list, you'll notice some guys aren't quite scoring the stage points that others are. You look at Corey Ennison, 6th, has 59 compared to Keenan Schade's 32. If you go even further down, you can find Alec Daffin. He scored 43 stage points, which compared to the guys around him is insane for him to be back in 16th. So clearly those stage points do add up, and right now they're keeping him barely in the chase.
Absolutely. All right, and just where we are at today in the schedule, let's just jump into our schedule real quick. So right now we are obviously at Pocono. A couple road courses coming up. The brand new San Diego street course on the naval base is next week, and then Sonoma as well.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely some time for these guys to make up at those tracks. With them being brand new, look for guys kind of like Jordan Wenzel and Keenan Schade to have those tracks circled. Could be good points buffers for the guys who can really manage those. And then obviously we have the couple wild cards coming up later with Atlanta and Daytona. Always can be massive point swings as we get closer and closer to the chase.
Absolutely. Yep, and plus, there are a few short tracks there sprinkled in that keeps things interesting. We'll see how that goes. Also, this season, we're going back to Chicagoland Speedway. That's been off the schedule for a little bit, and good to get back to that track.
Yeah, certainly going to be a bumpy, worn-out surface. A lot of chance for some struggles for some guys. So could be a handful of wild card races with that kind of San Diego, Sonoma, Chicagoland, Atlanta, North Wilkesboro stretch.
All right, so our warm-up and drivers meeting is about to wrap up. As soon as it does, we'll go straight into our lineup, and we'll get that in front of you momentarily. But thanks again for tuning in to the IWM Broadcast Network. We appreciate whatever stream you're watching us on now, since we happen to be on a number of different streams this week. Certainly do appreciate you tuning in, and if you do have that opportunity, go ahead and hit that YouTube subscribe button and join the IWM Broadcast Network family. We would appreciate it. All right, I think we got a grid. I think we are getting a grid. We're looking to see a grid. We have a grid. All right, let's bring that to you. Go ahead and kick us off, Jordan. Yep.
Rolling off in row 1, we have Lucas Gortman in P2, Dakota Reeder. Big gain from practice, going from 8th fastest to starting on the front row. In row 2, we have Keenan Schade, and then we also have Jordan Wenzel. Running out the top 5, we have Brian Jones, and to his outside, we'll have Tyler Lem. Rolling off in P7 is going to be Grady Gherkin, and another big jump is going to be Eric Jeffers, going from P16 in practice to starting P8. And rounding out our top 10 in row 5, we'll have Steve Tucker and Garrett Wolf.
All right, now in row 6, Jake Musso to the inside with Corey Ennis in P12 to the outside. Row 7 brings us Zach Carter and Jeff Ramsdell. With row 8, we've got Matt Pericini and Daryl Young. Row 9, Keith Fonseca in P17 with Vince Burns in P18. And in row 10, we've got Tony Japs and Mike Wheel.
Rounding out our field here in row 11, we got Brendan McKee and Joe Torres, followed by, in row 12, Austin Walton and Matthew Wheeler.
All right, that's our
now
field. Go ahead.
Little shake-up. Dakota Reeder, who we talked about qualifying second, making that big gain, does have an EOL penalty to start this race. So everybody on that top row is going to move up a spot, putting Jordan Wenzel up to P2. So definitely a little shake up here at the front. We'll have to see if Dakota Reeder can battle his way back and find himself up front. But certainly going to have a lot of more dirty air and a lot more cars to pass to get back up there.
All right, we got a stage break at lap 26. But we'll keep you up to date as to anything that we happen to see. Right now the field is coming out of our final turn. Pace car drops off. Lucas Corbin leads the field, and we are underway here at Pocono in the Schade's Auto Repair 200.
Pretty orderly here at the front for the start. Later on in this race, we'll see him start fanning out on these restarts, but everybody nice and orderly as they barrel off into turn one, trying to get up to speed and establish themselves in some clean air.
Solid 2x2 racing all the way back to the field. A little bit of 3 wide there for a bit. Expect to see that here on the backstretch as these guys trying to get stretched out, crossing the tunnel turn.
Tunnel turn could be a spot of trouble for a lot of these guys back in the pack. Dirty air going to cause a lot of people to push up. Looks like everybody's going to keep it orderly for now as Gortman's established that clean air up front. We'll have to see how he can manage these lanes. Turn 3 is one of the wider turns that you could have at Pocono. You can run kind of any lane that you want. Higher up you run, better run you'll get, but for all these guys just going to be searching for clean air, and we already see Gortman and everybody starting to follow him down as he tries to break that draft here at Pocono.
All right, second lap underway, clean so far. Door to door, though, right there. That is Brian Jones with the 99 of Tyler Lem.
Little bit of wall contact there for Jones in the 4 car. Going to kind of kill his run a little bit down this backstretch, but doesn't look like it's hurting him too bad. Tried to pull a slider of sorts, take that clean air from Tyler, make him lift, but might have dug it in there just a little too deep. But funnel down to the tunnel turn, pretty much one lane. They're at the track, 2 cars side by side. It's pretty sketchy. And then we'll get down here to turn 3, and you'll watch everybody start to just fan out and search for that clean air wherever they can find it on the racetrack.
Lucas Corbin continues to lead the field. Jordan Wenzel behind. We're single file pretty much at the top 5 or so in the field. But with that, Lucas Corbin sets the fastest lap of the race so far. Well, I take that back. That's Keenan Schade just pulled it off. Not Brian Jones. I can't keep
way up to the top. Yeah, everybody's starting to fan out, trying to do what they can here. We'll have to see, though. Sometimes with this lead car breaking the draft, the cars behind him will sort of get in the mentality of just staying in line, pushing each other. Brian Jones clearly does not have that mentality, so he darts it to the inside of Schade at the 45. Keenan's probably just going to let him go there. Really no point to fight too hard here. Maybe battle him back on the top side. But as I was saying, sometimes whenever these cars start to fan out and the leader starts to break the draft, if those cars behind stay linked up and just push each other down the front stretch, a lot of time can be made. So look for the teams, especially the SFM team with the numbers that they have, to try and work together on these long straightaways and really try and push people. But Brian Jones is absolutely flying right now. Started P5. He's been one of our bigger movers. Not a lot of movement throughout the field here, but he's slowly but surely working his way up.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks where it really takes a little bit of art to get around this track because each of these corners are so different.
Absolutely, Rick. Hit the nail on the head with that one. All these corners are just so you approach them in so many different ways. Turn 1, you're hard on the brakes, really trying to make sure that you get the car down to the bottom, but not too early so you don't pinch off the exit as it tightens up. And then turn 2, it's basically Indy, just stick it to the bottom and hope and pray that it sticks going through there. And then 3, you can kind of run wherever you want, and it's whoever really figures out one of these corners the best, I think, is gonna start driving away. But right now we see Gortman continuing to kind of set the standard up front, starting to pull a little bit away from Wenzel. So have to see if the cars behind can find something and really start dicing it up with him. Another thing to kind of take note of,
just noting that.
as we keep going, Wheeler, as you noted, he's 3 laps down. Unfortunately, might have had some technical difficulties starting this race, but we'll have to see if he can catch the caution he needs to get back on the lead lap. But with this track being so big, you can pit and stay on the lead lap from pretty close to the leader. I think it's about 7 to 10 seconds that you can be behind the leader and still come out on the lead lap. So if you see some of these guys in 8th, 9th, 10th, not going to get the stage points that they might want, as we see Brian Jones again in the wall, you could see somebody try and flip this stage, come in, with 3 laps to go in the stage and flip it. Going to be at a fuel disadvantage, but the track position right now seems to be really important. Not a lot of movement going on through the field.
Big mover though, Keenan Schade now has moved up to 2nd here at Pocono. Oh, big hit by Brian Jones.
He's got to start being a little bit more careful. Going to kill his run down the straightaway here. It looks like he has some decent right front damage on that car now.
Yeah, you can't
pushing a little too hard.
You cannot continue to slam that safer barrier like that.
Start to see him drop like a rock here. Certainly looks like he's hurt that car in a way that's definitely going to affect him. Going to have to try and limp it around here and salvage at least staying on the lead lap probably to end this stage.
Yeah, he is only
See
back
that
right now in
crinkled
9th.
in.
Yep.
One car that I've keyed in on that's really started to make some moves towards the front of this race is Corey Ennis. Started in P12, obviously got the gift, so he really started P10 with Dakota Reeder having to serve that EOL at the start of the race, but he's up to P7. So he's gained 3 natural spots, 5 spots from where he qualified. He was, decent enough in practice, but didn't quite have the qualifying that he wanted. But he's starting to pick them off as we see 2 wide here going into the tunnel turn again.
Yeah, you see Corey Ennis in that 27, rocking that throwback Rowdy paint scheme.
You see the back of the field still pretty condensed. Not a lot of movement going on once you get past the kind of top 10-ish. Everybody's nose to tail trying to get what they can, but from right around Jacob Musso and then behind him, starting to see that gap form. We have Brian Jones in 10th, and we know he has a hurt car. He's limping it around right now. It looks like he's holding up some of those guys and starting to create that big gap. And if these guys behind lose that draft a little bit, yes, they'll have a little cleaner air in the corners, but that draft is so important here at Pocono, and it could really shake this field out into who has the ability to flip the stage if they really want to, and who has to keep running it out because they're too far behind the leader.
Back up front, Lucas Corbin out in front. He's got about a half a second gap over 2nd place Keenan Schade. Not a whole lot, but right there, Jordan Wenzel sits in 3rd with Tyler Lem and Steve Tucker, top 5.
Tyler Lem always seems to find his way to the top 5. He's pretty strong at Pocono from what I can recall in years past, so it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him keep working his way forward. Just kind of got to get through that gaggle. He's in front of the kind of mess that is behind him right now, but now he's got to work on closing that gap up to Wenzel.
Yeah, Steve Tucker is there as well. He's a new name, new face this season, and he certainly has been running successfully.
A lot of shakeup in this league year over year, and it never seems to run out of talent. Gortman ran a little bit in 2025, but not full time, and now that he's full time in 2026, got a schedule squared away. He's certainly showed that he is one of, if not the driver to be at week in and week out.
Yeah, he's definitely put his mark on this league, at least for sure in this 2026 season.
Just to note on Brian Jones, we saw him get that right front damage earlier. He's fallen back to P11, still under fire, and now P12. So certainly that car is hurt in a way that is affecting the handling on that car. We saw him rocketing towards the front and then just pushed over the limit. So we'll have to see how far back he falls and if he can make a rally in stage 2, because certainly right now
94 was just sideways. 94,
Looks
97. Kind of dirt tracked it for a while there.
it looks like they clipped that apron just barely going through the tunnel turn, and that is certainly a pucker factor moment for those drivers going through the tunnel turn. Not a fun feeling whenever you got that car sideways in that tight of a turn, but they hung on to it as we see Brendan McKee's making an unscheduled pit stop.
Yep, the 15 finds himself on pit road.
It's like he has also found that right front damage and determined it was too much for him to overcome.
Oh, and you slid
Unfortunate.
through
Also
his
slid
pit.
through his box.
Yep.
He's gonna throw tires on that thing, try and rally. If he could stay one lap down, I think he has a good chance of staying, you know, in contention and get a lucky dog and get back in it. Oh, looks like he's called it a night actually.
Yeah, I guess that's it for the number 15 of Brendan McKee. He's done. All right, our first retiree hangs it up and packs up the trailer to head off to San Diego.
See, just a note on a driver that we saw qualify good, but have to go to the back. Dakota Reeder, he's only up to P21. He's only passed 2 cars from where he started the race. He's obviously got the 15, and then he's passed Mike Wheel. So clearly, track position seems to be important. A car that had a lot of speed by itself in qualifying just mirrored back in traffic and not really making any progress back there.
Nope, he's trapped right now back there. Just got by one. Oh, spinning right in front. That's the 9. That's the 9 of Austin Walton going around. Does bring out the caution.
Yeah, great job by those drivers back there to avoid him spinning right in their lap off the tunnel turn. Mike Wheel and the aforementioned Dakota Reeder, great job avoiding Austin as he decided to take a little extra peek around the tunnel turn as we'll see what happened to him.
Not sure he got a little help there or not, but it's possible.
Definitely looks like it. It's like Tony Japs in the 42.
No, I don't think there's actual contact. He may have taken the air off.
Yeah, it definitely looked like at least aero griefing there from the 42. 42 drove that thing in there really deep and washed up the track, and it looks like he got just close enough to that rear bumper of the 9 to send him around with the aero package and these next gens being so finicky with having a car in your bumper. Not much Austin could have done in that situation.
Well, the good news, it's like no contact and just burned up a little rubber.
Yeah, for sure. This could be an interesting pit stop for a lot of these drivers. Might see some guys near the back end of the top 10 pit. I would not expect to see anybody in the top 5 bringing down pit road. Lap times don't seem too far off of what the qualifying runs are. As we've mentioned before, track position is important. So have to see who decides to gamble here, come in, fuel up, get some tires, but I would not expect to see many drivers take that trek down pit road.
Yeah, I'm guessing it looks like it was really just about a second or so. A couple drivers. Steve Tucker, Eric Jeffers, Persini, Burns, about half the field decide to venture down onto pit road.
Doesn't look like very many, but definitely those guys towards the back. Nothing wrong with coming down here, getting some fresh tires and getting more fuel in it. You know, it could open up a 2-tire strategy at the stage for them, and obviously they're going to be better on fuel, take less time in the box, but you know, really no risk for these guys. I was surprised to see, you know, Tucker and Jeffers come in, but could be a good opportunity as well for Brian Jones to get that right front fixed up and try his charge back up to the front. Probably a well-timed caution for him.
Yeah, he's still in the pit making those repairs as much as he can. That is the benefit here in iRacing. You can spend some time and try to get some repairs made. He had slammed the wall at least 2 or 3 times that we saw, and that can certainly knock the toe out, damage that steering component.
Yeah, with how long we were watching him there, not seeing that right front fender pop instantly back out, looks like they're definitely working on the toe of that car. But lucky dog goes to Matthew Wheeler, so he gets one of his 4 laps back, which will put him 3 down. He should be the only car laps down in this race with Brendan McKee retiring. So he should be in position to get some more, and he'll definitely get one at the stage, putting him back to 1 down. So could be, or sorry, back to 2 down. So could definitely work out in his favor. And as we know, these restarts only get more and more chaotic at Pocono. Would not be surprised to see some 3 or 4 wide here in these restarts as we keep going.
Yeah, especially as we start inching our way towards that stage break. But patience is the key if your laps down like that. Just to stay consistent, keep working hard, and you'll get those laps back.
Absolutely.
So speaking of our championship 5, let's go ahead and see just where they're right now. Let's get up into the. So right now, obviously we talk about Lucas Corbin. He's leading the race and the points, but Wenzel right there in second. He's in P4. But interesting, you see Grady Gherkin. He's currently in 4th points-wise. He's mired back in P21, and right now I think he's a lap down.
Don't know if he's a lap down, but he's certainly far back. He might have had some damage and made an extended stop to fix it. But it looks like his connection has dropped.
Out. Yeah, he's out.
Yeah, it looks like he's had a connection issue. So very unfortunate for Grady there. Not what you want to see at all whenever you're in contention. Hopefully you can get that thing loaded back up here quickly and get back in it. But the technical difficulties of iRacing seem to be plaguing more than just the 58 car.
Yeah. We're all at the, it is a simulation. We're all at the mercy of the internet. We here in the broadcast booth can sometimes experience the same kinds of challenges that these drivers face. Storm rolls through and things happen. Well, the lights are off on the pace car. About to get back to green flag racing here. About 10 laps or so before the stage break. All of you have tuned into tonight's broadcast. We certainly appreciate that.
Oh, interesting note here. We have Gortman taking the top, teammate Tyler Lem right behind him. So a little bit of teamwork could be going on that top lane. Watch for that 99 to give the 6 a good shot here on this restart and try and get himself up into second.
All right, Lucas Corbin in charge, and here we go, back under green here in Pocono. Big move. And Tyler Lem does slide right into second. Let's go ahead and bring up some teammate information. So if you're watching and you're not sure, yes, iRFK Racing, Lucas Corbin, Tyler Lem, Jeff Ramsdell, and Matt Wheeler. Those top 3 drivers still in the race are all in the top 10.
A big loser on that restart was Keenan Schade. It looks like he's battling back on the outside of Wenzel, so not going to lose out too bad. But there in 1 and 2, just 1. There is no turn 2 at the same time. There's turn 2. He tried to tuck in behind the 99, and the 81 had a peek to his inside, but good runoff there. As we see also teammates of SFM in 5th and 6th, and 7th and 8th. They just keep going with Ennis, Musso, Walden, and Carter. So could be teamwork back there. Look for them to try and link up. Ooh, Wenzel on the wall there off of 3. Could give the run to Corey Ennis going down the front stretch, but certainly teammates play a big factor, and we saw it on that restart.
SFM2, you got Wenzel, Walden, and Carter all in the top 10. As we talked about earlier, Gherkin has resigned, but also, as you probably have heard or know, Short Fuse has a couple teams here. So the team with Corey Ennis and Jake Musso, they're both running 5-6, so huge contingent of SFM drivers in the top 10.
Tight racing there between 2 of them right there, but I swear week in and week out these guys seem to multiply. There always seems to be more of them every week, but it's kind of like IRFK where you often see them in packs. You normally see them together, and right here you see 5 of them from 4th to 8th, and they're doing their best to try and chase down those IRFK cars up front, but don't lose track of Schade there in the 45. He's been up Tyler Lem's rear bumper. He's trying to build runs, trying to do everything he can, but it's hard to do it whenever you have Tyler Lem there in front as he takes the dive to the inside. Could be one of his best chances.
And Tyler Lem has a trunk full of Keenan Schade right now.
Looks like his prime corner is 1. He seems to really get through there well, but this tunnel turn, obviously a difficult one to get through whenever you don't have clean air. So big for him is going to be trying to build a runoff of 3 so he can be at least alongside the 99 going off into turn 1 and try and use the strength that he has in 1 to get around him and go challenge the 6 car.
Looks like Grady Gherkin has reconnected. He's back in. unfortunately, now he finds himself 3 laps down.
Yeah, himself and Matthew are going to be battling there, trying to be in front. But Brian Jones went a lap down under that caution, fixing some damage. So neither of them are in position to receive a lucky dog. That would go to Brian Jones right now. So going to be some praying for cautions from those two, but obviously a lot of racing left to go and a long time for them to try and battle back.
Yep, 8 to go in this current stage before that caution flies again. Good racing so far. We've seen a lot of change, not so much up front, but certainly slicing and dicing behind the leader.
With that caution falling where it did, we had a little bit of strategy going on. So some guys stayed out. So now we see Daryl Young and Keith Finesca rounding out the top 10, but right behind Joe Torres up from his 22nd position where he started this race. He's now in P11. Steve Tucker, the first car to pit, is currently P12, trying to work his way around him, but it's definitely going to be hard to do. The track position seems to be very, very important tonight.
Big battle up front still between, the caution flies again.
Looks like it was happening in the back of the field.
See Mike Wheel involved, possibly Tony Japs as well.
See what happens. Seems to be the second caution that the 42 has at least been involved in. Don't know exactly what happened between Japs and Wheel.
Watch that 42 make his way around. There's a couple car lengths between those two. See the 96 get loose.
96 was loose on his own.
Yeah, he had just on his own, no contact. What happened to the 42 though? Oh, hang on. Let's find another camera angle and back that up. Not sure what happened to the 42.
Definitely an odd place to get squirrely with the caution being displayed. Looks like he hit the brakes. I don't know exactly what for and had a little bit too much rear brake out into it and looped it. No contact for both Mike Wheel and Tony Japs, it looks like, so they're both going to come out unscathed, but that might be a first for me, Rick. I don't think I've seen that one before.
I don't either. I have seen that happen when someone would rapidly downshift and all of a sudden the car breaks traction, but odd things happen. Well, it's racing.
Yeah, certainly. Well, this could be interesting, though. We're on lap 21, stage on lap 26, so we could see some guys try and flip it here and then stay out at the stage. Interesting to see what the call's going to be for these guys up front. I'd expect a lot of these guys in the top 5 to stay out, but towards the back end of the top 10, I would not be surprised to see some takers.
Yeah, already Steve Tucker shows on pit road. Pericini, Ramsdale, Burns, Mike Wheel. Tony Japs did not come in. That's a little surprising.
Be interesting to see if those guys elect to take tires or not. Might just be fuel stops, trying to get full. Didn't run a lot of laps on those tires, so have to see what the call is. Ramsdale looks like he misses his box. Looks like it's just fuel on the 94.
And the 0.
Looks like just fuel only stops for those guys. Wouldn't be surprised to see them come back. Little contact there. Looks like the 0 didn't quite realize the 94 was on his outside.
Yep.
No harm, no foul there, but would not be surprised to see those guys who took fuel only come back in and top it off here before we hit the 1 to go. Get as much fuel packed into that thing as you can. I would not be surprised to see the 0 and 94 flip the stage.
That makes perfect sense. All right, Lucas Gortman out in front. We just got a handful of laps. We go back to green flag racing before we get to our stage break. Tyler Lem in second, Keenan Schade in third, Wenzel in fourth, and Jake Musso in fifth. Some big movers so far, big gainers so far. Joe Torres, he's up 12 spots, up to 10th. Austin Walton up 9. Daryl Young plus 7. Jake Musso up 6, as well as Keith Fonseca.
I want to key in on Musso there. He had the 5th best time in practice, but qualified P11. So back up into the top 5. He certainly seems to have some decent speed in that car. So I have to see what he can do with a little bit cleaner air now that he's worked his way into the top 5. After last week at Michigan, where he decided to hit the barrels coming to the checkered flag of pit road. I'm sure that he has a little bit of PTSD looking down at those barrels at Pocono. They certainly look a lot alike from the barrels at Michigan pit road. So hopefully Jake can avoid those barrels this week and come home with a little better finish. But this restart could be a little different here. Gortman's going to take the top again, but this time instead of having his teammate behind him, he's going to be to the inside of him. And then he's got the SFM contingent lined up all behind him, so with a little bit of a shoddy sandwich there in the middle. So could be an interesting restart. Would not be surprised to see some 3 wide here, especially with the stage points on the line. Only 3 laps to go whenever we take the green coming to the stage.
All right, right now as the cars exit turn 1, headed to the tunnel turn, lights are off on our pace cars. We'll go back to green next time by. The 4 of Brian Jones back out there. Looks like he is, I could be wrong, he's back on the lead lap.
Yeah, you got the wave around there, so looks like either Wheeler or Gherkin will be able to get the lucky dog at this stage break.
Well, he's
So
gone
one of them
back
will be
into
2
the
down.
pits. Jones is back in trying to get some repairs made.
Could just be also topping off on fuel. Might not be a bad idea. Obviously gonna have to burn a little bit, but you know, one thing that wouldn't surprise me here, it could be a risky play, but if some of these guys who just pit want to hit again coming to the green and top back off on fuel, they won't go a lap down, and they'll be a lap better on fuel than the competitors that also stayed around. And as we know, fuel matters so much here, so it could be a risky play, but with stage points out the way, it could work, but highly doubtful.
All right, Brian Jones gets out just in time as the field approaches the start-finish line. Lucas Gortman, we're back under green. Little bump by the 81 in the bumper of the 6.
Oh, big checkup. Wrecking behind him. Looks like the 3 of Torres did not get a good restart there at all. And seems to have found himself spun around on the front stretch.
Yep, well, we're going to rack and stack and do this one more time. That will complicate the whole stage break for sure.
Yeah, most certainly. But just to note, coming to the flag there, we did see some guys pit. Parasini, Wheel. They both decided to come down pit road and top back off on fuel, so definitely going to put themselves in a little better fuel position, but have to see what happened on this restart to the 3.
You can see is to the outside line there. A little bit of a checkup, winds up in the bumper of the 5. Backs out
Oh,
of
looks
it.
like he missed a shift or something. That's some rapid deceleration of that car compared to the rest of the field. Nowhere for the 85 or the 9 to go. Looks like the 10 got wrapped up in this big contact on the inside wall for Wheeler. Bad day gone worse for him, but doesn't look like too much heavy contact for the rest of the field. Looks like everybody else kind of got away with minor damage that was involved, but
Let's go on board
certainly
with the 3, see if we can see what we can see here. Oh, he downshifted.
That's going the wrong way on the lever there.
Yep, it happens. It certainly happens. Sometimes the most logical answer is the right answer. All right, we're back under caution for a little bit of a hiccup on that restart, but that puts everybody now, since this is now the stage, pretty much.
Will be the stage, so now we'll see everybody come down. Be interesting to see if it's 4 tires all the way around or if somebody decides to gamble for 2.
My money is a 4-tire stop all around.
It's like a couple.
Top
It looks like
layer.
Eric Jeffers took 2 tires.
Steve Tucker is still out. Who also? Vince Burns, I think, fuel only.
Definitely a little bit of a shake up here. The front. Interesting tidbit to note though, Parasini and Wheel, they both came in to top off, and that caution instantly coming out. Now they're lined up behind the pace car. Still on the lead lap, but interesting to see how iRacing's going to score this and see if they'll be allowed to cycle back up front of these cars at pit like they should, or if they're going to be forced to be into a wave around type of position.
So 3 cars who did not come in: Reeder, Ramsdell, and Tucker. They're staying out there. Dakota Reeder came in on lap 13, so he's got older tires than the rest of the folks out there right now. But Tucker took fuel only that time, his last time. Jeffers may have taken right sides. We'll have to see what the pit stop stats look like, if it gives us any insight. Yeah, it looks like Jeffers took 2 tires, Tucker fuel only. Vince Burns fuel only. We're showing a black flag for Mike Wheel. Not exactly sure what caused that.
It's an interesting one.
Wheel makes his way back down onto pit road.
Fortunate for both Mike Wheel and Matt Parasini. They were going to put themselves in great position there. Have a little bit more fuel than the rest of the field, but unfortunately that caution coming out seems to have ruined those plans for them.
Yep, best laid plans, unfortunately.
But now going to see some new faces here in the clean air with Ramsdell, Reeder. Doesn't look like Reeder has any damage, but it almost looks like there might be a little bit of damage to the front end of that car from that caution. Looks like it might be punched in just a bit in the nose.
Yeah.
So definitely something to watch out for on that top line. That definitely going to make that car tighter than what it was to whenever it was clean, and a little bit of a parachute as well out there. So be an interesting call there for him, but he's got control of the race, so have to see if that damage really affects him or if he's able to battle through it.
All right, our third caution here. 27 laps complete of 80. We'll go back to green flag on lap 28. Dakota Reeder is our control car, and we're back to green flag racing here in Pocono. Black flag also for Parasini. Not exactly sure what happened to Matt Parasini there.
Looks like an iRacing bug. Looks like those have been cleared by race control, so no worries on the black flags. But Reeder out front got a big jump, but looks like he's not able to keep the center corner speed up. A little bit of contact with the wall for some of those guys trailing. Could be in a good spot for Ramsdell here, staying alongside if he can.
Looks like Dakota Reeder kind of comes out and closes that door a bit, but wasn't able to make it happen. Ramsdell looks like he's about to make a run. He's got Steve Tucker behind him.
Looks like Eric Jeffers is going to end up being a big loser here, stuck behind the 85. Going to have to find his way around him.
Jeff Ramsdell taking advantage of a lot of that action happening behind him. Those cars that are running too wide really are giving him an opportunity to get a few seconds out front.
Right there, looks like Steve Tucker elected to run a lane up compared to Gortman, which is going to give Gortman that clean air. And If I was these guys, I would do everything in my power to make sure that 6 car does not have any sort of clean air, because we've seen what happens whenever he gets the lead. So going to be important here for Ramsdale and Tucker to work a little bit together, but Ramsdale is teammates. He is in that IRFK team, so some team strategy could be in the works here to try and shuffle Tucker out. We'll have to see what they can make do, but Tucker is all over the back bumper of Ramsdale already.
Oh, super loose. Ramsdale kind of almost lost the back end. That opened the door for the 6 and the 0. Now we're 3 wide for the lead.
Gortman in a good position here. He had a big run, should be clear into 1, not quite. Tucker's going to drive it in deep on his door. Ramsdale way up the track. Tucker's battling back hard on that outside lane. Ramsdale with a big run coming. Looks like he's going to push Tucker back out up front. So now we have those IRFK cars 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, with Tucker going to have to be playing some big defense here to keep him behind. To see what sort of run Gortman can build. I think he's faster than his teammate Ramsdale in front. Have to see if he elects to try and push him or if he's going to try and take the spot. Going to push him here down the straightaway, try and get them both closer to Tucker, but would not be surprised to see Gortman finally decide to say, all right, I'm faster, I got to go. But for right now, looks like they're going to work together here, try and keep Tucker within arm's reach for all of them. Looks like Schade's trying to look underneath. Believe that's the 12 of Jeffers for 5th.
Yep, trying to work his way around the 12. Drops down across his nose, takes the spot.
Big loser for everybody.
Yep. Wenzel making his way back up to the front.
Big loser there in that restart was Ramsdale's, or not Ramsdale, excuse me, was the 85 Dakota Reader with that center punch nose. Restarted in 1st, and he's already fell to 20th. So clearly that damage was more important than the track position as he finds himself at the back, but looks like it's single file through most of the field. Then we get into these corners, and everybody's just searching for that clean air. Fans out 3 wide, 4 wide sometimes, looking for as much clean air as they can find.
Wenzel had some good help from Corianis on his bumper, but they still have not been able to close that gap with the 45 and 12.
Yeah, Wenzel's starting to have a gap form in front of him, so certainly looks like the 12 car is bleeding some time around compared to those cars around him. Going to be important for these guys to try and get around the 12 as quickly as they can, but Eric doing a good job of putting his car exactly where it needs to be in order to make that thing as wide as possible, keep the track position, but only seems like it's going to be a matter of time before the 45 can pounce, and then it'll be on from there. But little change up front. Gortman has now found himself up into 2nd. He's gone past his teammate Ramsdale, and now he's got his sights set on Tucker. Have to see if Tucker can make that thing wide and keep the 6 behind him. Oh, big contact in the wall for the 97.
Grady Gherkin now finds himself in the lucky dog candidate position. See if a caution allows him to jump back on the lead lap. Steve Tucker, though, continues to hold this lead. He's got about a 2.5 tenth gap between himself and Gortman.
I know obviously we're a while here from wanting to pit and everything like that, but do not be surprised. I would highly doubt that we'll see a lot of these guys run it long with how important track position is. I'd say here in about 15 or so laps we'll start to see guys trickle down pit road, because obviously if you can pit, stay on the lead lap and a caution comes out, it's almost like super speedway racing. You can cycle back out to the front and now you've found track position. So obviously a long way to go till then, about 15 laps, but important for all these guys to try and keep themselves within arm's reach of this leader and maybe play a little bit of strategy to try and manufacture some track position.
If it stays green, I think that next time we'll have one more scheduled pit stop before the end of the event.
Tucker right now doing a good job trying to play defense on Gortman. Wherever Gortman seems to run, Tucker tries to at least match it by running within half a lane, but Gortman able to get a big drive off of 4. Going to be as close as he has been to Tucker in a while. Going to peek to the inside, not quite close enough. Gortman doing a great job of making Tucker commit to a lane and then picking his, sort of straddling a lot of lines and either letting it drift up or down. But so you see just a single file train behind him.
Brian Jones spent about 3.5 minutes in the pits trying to get repairs made to that number 4. But he finds himself now back up to 13th.
It's like a long way from where he wants to be, but got that car clean, so we'll see what he can do with it. Starting to see Ramsdale looks like fade just a bit, Lem up his bumper, but looks like Wenzel's got himself around Jeffers. Schade looks like he just dropped a couple positions. Now he's running 8th. But Ramsdale right now, I know he's fallen off the lead drivers just a bit, but doing a great job of managing his track position. Still running up there in 3rd. Looking to be a big positive for that 97 so far.
Big mover. You got Jordan Wenzel now up to 5th with Eric Jeffers in tow as they hone in on the bumper of the 99.
Looks like the 99 is trying to be a good teammate right now, trying to play the draft a bit, keep the 97 up there with the 6 and the 0. So a little bit of teamwork going on right now. Obviously a long way to go. A lot of tire saving needs to be done by these guys. Don't want to tear up that right front right now, especially through this dirty air that everybody's having to navigate.
Absolutely. You know, he's got that roll there. He's the backdoor man. He's going to keep those drivers that are behind him behind the IRFK drivers.
Certainly he's playing doorman right now, and not an easy role to play, having to navigate the dirty air, the 97 in front, while making sure that the 81 doesn't get any clean air as well.
97 super loose.
Up front though, Gortman looking to the top side of the 0 for the lead. He got through the tunnel turn very well, ran a lane higher than the 0, should have a good run down the front stretch here. We could see him try and make a move into 1. He'll have the tow all the way down the front stretch.
Ramifications of that 97 being loose, Lem backed out a little bit, and that certainly allowed Wenzel to come right up on his bumper.
You see, looks like Jeffers started to slip a little more. Looks like Ennis is looking to the inside of him for 5th. Not quite able to get the move done. Starting to see the field start to spread out, so now is the time where if the driver in front of you is a little slower, you definitely got to start making your moves. You can't afford to sit behind somebody and lose the draft with the cars in front of you and lose that lead pack. But Tucker did a great job defending into 1, didn't let Gortman do anything with it. Now he's built himself back up a little buffer, but wouldn't be long. We'll have to see if Gortman can make another charge at him.
Passing is such a challenge here at this track. Brady Gherkin is 3 laps down.
So Tucker seems to be very committed to that second lane through 1 and 2. Does not want to let Gortman have that lane. Seems to be one of the best lanes for Tucker to be defending in. See what Gortman can do down into the apron, or not the apron, through the tunnel turn. Running higher, trying to get a little good throttle. It's a good run. Have to see what lane he chooses here in 3. Gonna fire it down in there.
Yeah, he stayed in the throttle just a little bit longer. Almost had some contact. He backed out just a tad. Gave back the position.
He started to get a touch tight there. Didn't quite get the rotation he thought he was going to get. Down here is important though. I think if Gortman can stay close enough on the exit of 1 to Tucker, then he'll have a chance to get good throttle. Looks like he's starting to push up just a bit. Able to keep the hammer down. little closer into the tunnel turn this time. See if he keeps running that late apex into turn 2.
Backed out just a little bit earlier than Tucker did.
Turn 2 such a hard spot for Gortman to navigate. You want to try and turn in later, but then you risk the car not getting all the way to the bottom. This could be a good moment for him. He's got some clean air up top. Gonna have to cross the wake of Tucker. Able to do so. He's gonna have some good drive going down this front stretch. See if he can do anything with it. See the rear bumper getting bigger and bigger out the front windshield of Gortman.
Gets to him, but just not quite there.
Looks like Gortman's gonna have to work really hard on 1. He can get side by side with Tucker into the tunnel turn and get to his inside. I think he's got the faster car, but navigating through turns 2 and 3 seems to be a little bit harder. But like we said in the pre-race, as long as you can nail 1 corner, it's really hard for people to pass you. And it looks like Tucker has 1 down so far. Seems to be all that he's needed to keep the 6 behind, but you see cars started to form up behind him, so clearly Tucker bleeding some time to the guys behind, and we'll have to see if these guys can work together a little bit and try and shuffle him back.
Looks like the 6 had to back out a little bit. Did Tucker get loose?
Might have just been wanting Tucker to pick his lane. Don't obviously want to follow him behind, but Tucker decided to run the bottom that time. Going to give a little bit more forward momentum to Gortman. Close as he's been into the tunnel turn. Not quite close enough to make a move. You'll see him run way high here. And that's what you got to worry about, is missing the bottom. Let Tucker get a little bit bigger of a buffer going into 3, but also let a lot of these guys close back up. Eric Jeffers was at risk of starting to lose the draft a little bit, certainly bleeding time to those in front of him, but that little bit of a moment kind of stacked everybody back up, and now everybody's linked up a little better.
All right, we thank you all for tuning in to the IWM Broadcast Network here tonight with the iNRS Cup Series here at Pocono for the Schade's Auto Repair 200. Appreciate you watching, and if you have the opportunity, click that subscribe button and stay up to date on our channels. We can bring you some of the best of sim racing here on Wednesdays and Thursday nights here on your favorite streaming platform.
Looks like Schade almost had a look at Ennis for P7. Ennis was able to fend him off through the tunnel turn, but definitely I think Ennis is trying to be a good teammate right now to Eric, trying to help him out. Ooh, big contact for Ramsdale into the wall. Gonna check up some of those guys behind him. Let these 2 front guys get away just a bit here for now. But certainly it seems like Ennis is trying to be a good teammate, or just can't get around the 12, but it's certainly stacking up those cars behind him, as you can see in that picture, going off into 1. From 6th on back, it seems to be a madhouse for those 5 or so positions. So seems like Jeffers is a little off the pace compared to those guys. We'll have to see if... Oh, it looks like Ennis finally got to the top side of him. But now it's going to be up to see if Ennis can go challenge this top 5 and try and break through that kind of barrier it seems to be formed around those guys.
Being able to close that gap has been such a challenge for all of these drivers. They each could use a little bit of help to get up there. Corey Ennis up 6 spots now, up to the 6th place, started in 12th. Jeffers back there has got some good help by the 45 of Schade. He's right there.
And we saw Eric pull a little bit of strategy there and take 2 tires at the stage, and so far it's working out for him. Obviously gained some track position, and as we get closer and closer to this last pit stop, some guys could be taking note of the fact that Jeffers on 2 tires has been able to hang so well. And obviously with the pit window opening here in about 5 or so laps, would not surprise me at all to see somebody who, maybe like a Walden or a Schade or a Musso, maybe even a Lem, Wenzel, Ennis, any of these guys might. Oh, as we see Gortman taking a dive down to the inside for the lead. Have to see if he can get good throttle here. Tucker's going to hang tight. Obviously the teammates behind Gortman will try and help him, but Going to be a drag race down into 1.
Oh, little block
Big
there.
block from the 99.
Solid block there as the 6 gets by.
Ooh, 97 threw a wicked slider there on the 81 to keep him behind. Wenzel's not going to like that, but new leader Lucas Gortman back to the front just before we're about to start green flag pit stop cycles. See if Tucker can do anything to hang with him. Maybe try and build a run and get that position back, but certainly going to be difficult.
Yeah, green flag pit stops expected anytime in the next 10 laps. Maybe sooner for Tucker. He pitted last on lap 25. Our calculations say that's somewhere about lap 52, 54, somewhere there.
See now Lem able to get to the top side of Tucker. Tucker just starting to bleed a little bit now. Not got that clean air that was so vital. We see, have to see if Wenzel can maybe work his way around the 97 and keep in tow with Lem and Gortman, who are on the same strategy as him. Going to be important to make sure he gets around him. Corey Ennis finds himself up into this top 5 battle in 6th. But Gortman's starting to leg it out a little bit here.
Dakota Reeder on pit road.
Yeah, that damage wasn't really in the lead pack. I would not expect his pit stop strategy to drag anybody in with him. See Wenzel there to the inside of the 97 of Ramsdale, not able to get the throttle up that he needs through the tunnel turn though.
81 super loose. That allowed the 27 now to slip up under.
Let Eric Jeffers back into this battle as well. Going to put Corey Ennis at a big disadvantage here. No draft on the straightaway, at risk of losing that spot back to Jeffers that he worked so hard to get. But with 33 to go here, I'd say pit window is now open for most of these guys. Could be.
Walden now has closed that spot off completely.
To see if Corey Ennis can get any decent throttle here and try and clear his way back up into the top lane. Unable to do so. Big loser in that ordeal was Corey Ennis. Unfortunately finds himself without the draft and now bleeding spots. Wenzel was able to get around Ramsdale though, so Wenzel trying to make a charge back up there. Now it looks like Eric Jeffers might be challenging for the inside of Ramsdale into 3.
Moves down.
Going to be important for Wenzel to complete this pass through 1. So we see Lem and Gortman drafting together, working as best they can to try and build the buffer that they need to make these green flag pit stops and come out with the lead still. Wenzel throwing a little bit of a slider there, putting the dirty air on Tucker, not let him throttle up. Wenzel cleared a 3rd. Now he's got to go track down those guys in front of him. Big mess going on back here behind Ramsdale. Looks like those old tires are starting to show their nasty head here as we get closer to pit stops. Stacking up these guys behind. Building a big gap though for his teammates out front.
Schade door to door with Ennis and Jeffers here. 27 finds himself mired back in this back there. 3 wide behind. A little bit of contact there with the 4.
Don't think Jake's going to be too happy with that.
Our calculator said there's still plenty of fuel in the car, but you just never know. They are shifting here. That does take away some of the fuel mileage value there.
Absolutely. Wouldn't be surprised though in these next couple of laps if we wouldn't see a guy maybe like the Corey Ennis who just lost a little bit of track position come down early. Get some clean air, stay on the lead lap obviously. He's close enough to the leader where he can pit and remain on the lead lap. You see nobody looking yet. 30 to go now, should be well within their range to make it.
Yeah, they've all got one more stop to make.
Obviously for Gortman and Lem, the play here is probably to stay out as long as they can. Wenzel's starting to close that gap back up, but With this gaggle behind him, no reason to pit until one of them forces your hand.
Yeah, I was saying the exact same thing. You stay out as long as you can, hoping that someone makes a mistake since they're battling so hard behind you. That caution could come out. The last thing you want is to come in under green flag conditions and come back out, and then a caution flies.
Well, the big thing here, Rick, is that these guys can pit and stay on the lead lap, so they wouldn't have to worry about being a lap down. And if they do pit and then the caution comes out after they make their service, they can just stay out. We see Matt Parasini diving down pit road. So now for Matt, he wants to pit, run a lap or so, and then he probably wants to see a caution come out. Because if a caution comes out and he's able to stay on the lead lap, all of a sudden he stays out and his tires are just as fresh, and now he's in the lead.
You're correct.
So definitely a cat and mouse game being played. So Matt feels like he's good on fuel from this number. He's going to come in, pit. He should stay on the lead lap. He should have been close enough to the leaders. Obviously it'll be close. He obviously wasn't in that lead pack, so a little further to go for him. Leaders are just now going into 3, as we can see on that track map, and he's exiting his pit stall. Has a decent pit stall.
That was a 14.93 time. Not the fastest stop, but not terrible.
But now we'll see. Now what Matt wants to see here is oh, new leader. We see Lem go around Gortman. Looks like Gortman either made a mistake or Lem was just faster. Little changing of the guard here. Tyler Lem now up front. Wenzel right there at their heels as they've pulled away from the guys behind them. Looks like Lem just had a massive run or something there.
Huge.
Took the spot pretty easy. No contest from his teammate. But it looks like we're seeing some mics start to queue up, Rick. I think pit road's going to become a busier place. I'd expect the 81 and the 97 this time. Looks like the 6 is going to mirror the 81 and come down with him.
Gortman,
A lot of guys
Wenzel,
are on pit road.
Ennis, Ramsdale, Fonseca, Schade, Young, and Walton all on pit road.
The big thing for these guys that are still out on track is what they do not want to see that yellow flag waving. These guys are more than likely going to be pitting within the next couple of laps here. Little gingerly into the pit stall for the 6 to see if that affects it at all. 81 obviously entered really close to his tail, but just by seeing how these cars are being jacked up, looks like the 6 should stay out front of the 81. Yep. 6 is going to retain what would be second place coming out of the pits.
Everybody on that stop took 4 tires and fuel. Now the next round is coming in. Tyler Lem, Walden, Tucker, Musso, Jones, Burns, and Carter on pit road. Torres as well.
You see Jeffers running long. We did see him take 2 tires at that last pit stop, so I would not expect him to make a risk on 2 tires at all. Some of these guys could get a little risky. We've seen 4 tires be the standard across the board so far. Leaves only 2 cars on the lead lap who have yet to pit, being Jeffers and Mike Wheel.
Brian Jones may have overshot his stall for a second there.
Going to be important to see this blend between the 99 and the 6. That will be for the effective race lead. We see Gortman flying down the front stretch. Looks like Lem will retain the lead. Great job by Tyler, who have a little bit fresher tires. Leader Eric Jeffers in the pits.
Jeffers and Wheel.
Looks like that'll complete our green flag pit cycle. Looks like Tyler Lem will retain the lead here, unless Jeffers or Wheel decide to pull a little bit of strategy. Would not expect it though. Looks like Jeffers overshot his pit stall just a bit, so gonna hurt him a little bit there. Looks like it'll be 4 tires all the way around for these guys.
Yep.
Big thing to note as well is that they do need that full tank of fuel, or very close to it, so 2 tires might not be worth it. But now we see a big gap formed. Lem and Gortman are pretty close, but big gap back to Wenzel, 2 seconds from Lem, so Wenzel certainly has some work to do to get back up there. Big winner in this pit cycle, it looks like, is going to be Fonseca there in the 61. Finds himself in 5th.
And good
Certainly
for
a big gain
Ramsdell
for him.
as well. He's retained. He's still in the top 5. Oh,
And now he's on, loose there, getting into turn 2.
Broadcaster's curse, I guess.
He's able to hang on to it, so it looks like he's thwarted the curse for now, but certainly got a hungry gaggle of cars there behind him. We know Tucker has some decent pace. He led a bunch of those laps, but now he's trapped on the bottom. We'll have to see if he slots back up here in front of the 27. He will. But these guys have a lot of time to make up if they want to get back up to the leaders. Lem and Gortman are pulling away from Wenzel as we speak. Obviously, Lem pit a lap later, so touch fresher tires than Gortman.
If green flag
Obviously.
stops, can definitely jumble up the field, and no exception tonight.
Absolutely.
24 laps to go here at Pocono in the Schade's Auto Repair 200. Your leader, Tyler Lem, with Lucas Gortman, Jordan Wenzel, Jeff Ramsdell, and Keith Fonseca. That's your top 5.
Wenzel seems to be losing touch with these leaders just a bit here, still hanging around that 2-second gap, but Lem so far looking very dominant out front. Obviously, he grabbed that lead right before the pit cycle, stayed out a lap later, and was able to keep it. See if Gortman can mount a challenge.
All that clean air.
And 99 certainly seems to like it out there. Gortman still hanging though around that 4 to 5/10 range, so not pulling away from him by any means, but doing a good enough job of managing that dirty air and then the draft down the straightaways. See Gortman have a good tunnel turn there.
This track has certainly proven to be very challenging to try and pass, even when these drivers are close nose to tail. They're struggling to get around, whether that's aero or just the track itself. Trying to make up this delta between, you're hoping for a mistake.
Yeah, well, I don't know if Tyler Lem made a mistake or if Gortman's just that fast, but that was a 2/10 gain for Gortman on that lap. So Tyler's going to have to go back to the drawing board and try and figure a little something out. Does a good job of aero blocking Gortman there. Gains about a 1/10 on him through 1. But Gortman really made up his time through 2 and 3 last lap.
This would be a huge opportunity for Lem, who's currently without a win, sitting back in 10th. This would be a big move. He's close, just a few points behind Jacob Musso and Dakota Reeder and Jones. So you see those drivers are only separated by about 10 points between 6th and 10th. A win here would be dramatic.
Yeah, and those extra 15 points you get for winning can certainly go a long way. But obviously he's got 21 laps to go to close this thing out, and one of the best drivers in the series, the points leader, Lucas Gortman, behind him. He knows it's a teammate, so he should expect a little bit of courtesy from the teammate. Maybe Gortman realizes that this win could go a lot further for Lem than it does him, but I mean, at the end of the day, I've been in Gortman's shoes, and it might be a teammate, but at the end of the day, there's only one checkered flag, and second doesn't feel as good. So certainly going to have to see how Gortman elects to play this with going to be 20 laps to go at the line, but doing a good job so far, these two. They have still that 2-second buffer to Wenzel, not really making any inroads. Wenzel is just kind of matching lap times with the leaders, but behind them it's obviously a gaggle, and you know what happens when a bunch of cars get stacked up nose to tail like they are from about 5th on back. Certainly can get a little risky going on there.
Got the 43 of Garrett Walden jumping up to the 45 of Keenan Schade there. He's got the 27 for Ennis on his tail. He's to the inside of Jeff Ramsdell, trying to do something.
Ramsdell's been hard to pass all night long and is showing it now. Doesn't look like he quite has the speed of the cars behind, obviously, with how stacked up they are behind him, but running his line and doing a great job of doing that.
He's really taking away the opportunity just by sticking to his guns and running his line.
Doing what he's got to do. Looks like he has turn 3 down pretty well. Looks like he might be lacking a little bit in the rest of the corners, but like we said, all it takes is one corner. He has the gap that he needs and the dirty air that he can make. So doing a good job of back up out front. The gap between Lem and Gortman back down pretty tight underneath 3/10. That last lap was about a wash between the two. A 61 looking underneath Coriolis there. Keith Fonseca. Not able to get it done.
No, he gets up to his bumper or quarter panel, and then unfortunately has to get out. He actually got out a lot there, lost a huge gap. Something is up with that 61 because it looks like the 43 is about to get up underneath him.
Yeah, it looks like he obviously didn't want to wash up into the 27 there on the exit of the tunnel turn. Might have breathed the throttle a bit and obviously lost a lot of momentum, but well, these guys are battling up front. Gortman can get all the way to Tyler's rear bumper and then can't do much with it. Might be being a nice teammate, might not, who knows, but that last lap he was about a 10th faster than Tyler.
They're about to come up to the 85 of Dakota Reeder. He is the last car shown on the lead lap. Running by himself. His last lap time, let's jump to Dakota. Let's do a little comparison with his time and the leader lap time here.
Dakota 4/10 off the pace, it looks like. Showed a lot of promise with his qualifying effort, but then kind of got buried in the pack, got a little bit of damage. Doesn't look like the day that he wanted at all. Certainly the leaders at this rate will catch him before this thing is over, and that could be some dirty air that Tyler has to navigate. Could be an opportunity for Lucas, but you know, every time Tyler has a you know, a lap that's, you know, maybe a 10th or 2 slower, and then they start to even out for a lap, and then looks like Tyler's able to manipulate that dirty air and get the car needing to do what he needs it to do. Excuse me. He's able to find a 10th or 2 on Lucas and go a little faster. They're right around the 54-second lap times on average, but then all of a sudden one of them will pop out with a 53.9, and then the other will pop out with a 53.9, and certainly the two best cars on the track looks like are these two guys, but obviously a long way to go in this race and have to find out.
Lem continues to lead here with 16 laps to go at the Schade Auto Repair 200. Take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Tired of overpriced repairs and empty promises? At Schade's Auto Repair in Irwin, Pennsylvania, we do it differently. Oil changes, brakes, engine work, and more. Honest work, fair prices, every time. Serving the Irwin community right here on Route 30. Trust your car to us. Call 724-863-5788 or visit Schade'sAutoRepair.com on the web or on Facebook.
All right, welcome back to the IWM broadcast of the iNRS Racing Series here, week 16 of the season. Here at Pocono in the Schade's Auto Repair 200, your leader Tyler Lem out in front with his teammate Lucas Gortman behind, Jordan Wenzel sitting in third, Tucker in fourth, and Corey Ennis back in fifth.
Looks like Corey Ennis was able to get clear of that gaggle for fifth, finds himself riding solo fifth right now. Looking like he's doing a good job. Little comeback for Matt Parasini, finds himself in the back end of the top 10 running in 10th as well. So looks like that early pit stop for Parasini's worked out in his favor. Finds himself battling with that whole contingent right there around, you know, about 6th on back. But you know, we see Wenzel, he's able to take a dip into like underneath the 2-second gap to the leaders. He has Tucker all over his rear bumper. Looks like Tucker is not content with pushing him, trying to get up there. He's going to go ahead and try and go on by him. See if Wenzel puts up much of a fight here.
Not at
Looks like
all.
he'll let him have it pretty easily.
Wenzel's smart enough to know that if they're running side by side, that's just going to help Gortman and Lem.
Yeah, certainly. If these two guys can work together, they might have enough pace to go up there and make it a little interesting. Going to have to make up a lot of time, though. With only 15 to go, they're going to need to make up over 1/10 of a second on Tyler Lem. Little blink there from Tucker. No harm, no foul going through the tunnel turn. But certainly, I mean, they're only about a second off of the draft from Gortman. So if they can get another 5/10 here in these next, 3, 4, 5 laps, they have a chance. See it, Wenzel's lap time that last lap was a 1/10 quicker than the leader.
Yep, still quicker. Well, no, not that time.
Now Wenzel's got to manage a little bit of that dirty air from Tucker. But if they can work together a little bit here, if Wenzel can run a little higher than Tucker, give him some pushes down these straightaways, they could find themselves in that draft of Gortman and try and make things interesting. Gonna be a stretch to get there, but certainly not out of the picture quite yet.
Well, and he's beginning to probably feel the effects of the dirty air from Dakota Reeder as well. Reeder is about 6 or 8 car lengths ahead. Let's go back and look. Well, maybe more than that, but he's definitely in the radar of Tyler Lem. Let's go ahead and jump on board with Lem.
Definitely gonna put this relationship though, Lem and Reeder have to the test. Hopefully Reeder can realize the situation going on behind him and maybe give a little bit of courtesy to the leaders as they come up to him. But at the same time, you don't want to go that one lap down in case the caution comes out. A fine line that Reeder's gonna have to walk here, but you never know. I mean, all it takes is one slip up from Lem and Gortman's right there still.
That he's heard a little bit of tire squeal from Lem as he worked his way through that tunnel turn.
One thing to note as well, Steve Tucker, that last lap was 2/10 faster than Lem and Gortman, so he's there. He's within the draft of Gortman already. Or just about. That last lap, Tyler was able to rattle off 53.9, so they were able to even out with Tucker. Maybe they're saving a little bit, picked it up a little bit right there, but if Tucker can keep rattling off consistent 53.8s and 53.9s, he should be able to sniff the draft of Gortman, and that's only going to expedite his process getting there.
All right, 11 laps to go here as this event is winding down. Your leader Tyler Lem out in front with Lucas Gortman in second. And as we just heard Jordan talk about, Tucker is on the move.
He's about a 1/10 from, or about 2 to 3 tenths from starting to get some of that really good draft off of Gortman. So still some work to be done for Tucker to get there. Wenzel in tow, still hanging around there, but obviously still a lot of racing left to be done, and obviously a lapped car that we've been talking about for a little bit here as well in front of him. So a lot of challenges still faced with 99. Oh. Looks
85
like,
is gone in the pits.
Yeah, it looks like Reeder might have been playing some strategy there or something. He pits, gets out of the way of Tyler. So now some clean track for Tyler. We'll have to see if he can use it. Tucker sort of stalled out at that 1.7-ish second range. We'll have to see if he can try and break through it. He's been stuck there for a couple laps, but Gortman certainly not alleviating any of the pressure that Tyler's facing right now.
I saw Gortman didn't quite hit the safer barrier, but he was definitely up in the marbles.
These guys are definitely pushing the limits. Tracks rubbered up, so the bottom lane might not be as usable as it once was at the beginning of the race, especially down in turn 1. See these guys start searching for anything they can find, but Gortman under 2/10. Lem doing what he can. Gortman able to peek that left front headlight out underneath. Still going to be there with under 2/10, probably going into the tunnel turn with the draft that he'll get. And Tucker finally breaking through 1.7 seconds. All it'll take is one little slip up from Gortman, and it might be enough to give Tucker the draft and drag him even closer.
Tucker and Wenzel kind of hooked up a little bit there. That's a benefit for Tucker. He needs a little bit of a draft partner there to help you get closer to Portman. But farther back, you got door-to-door action between the 27 of Coriolis and Keenan Schade.
Seems like these guys have been around each other for most of the night. Probably getting tired of seeing each other's paint schemes at this point.
Yep, this is the battle for fifth.
Where these guys are in the points, every position definitely matters for these guys right now. So some hard racing going on. Garrett Walden snuck his way up into 7th. Good run going so far for Garrett. A little bit of blocking going on from the 45 to keep Ennis behind, but you see that points right there. Schade right now 5th in the championship and 5th in this race, so could be some good points with Gherkin having his problems and the 58 not being here.
27 and that run caught a little bit of that safer barrier, a little taste of the wall there. That allowed him to slip back just a little bit farther and give a little gap between himself and the 45.
As we see Rick Gortman still up Tyler Lem's bumper. And as we see Tucker now 1.4 seconds back and closing down the front stretch. So certainly going to be a heave to try and make up 1.3 seconds in 7 laps. But I've seen wilder things happen on this game. So interesting to see what Tucker can do here as we see. I mean, 2/10 right there. Not going to be enough if he's on that if he's on 2/10. It could be close. But obviously dirty air is going to be a factor, and we've seen how hard it is to pass, so he's going to have to keep that pace up and hope for a couple mistakes from the leaders up front, but he is doing what he can to try and get there.
Yep, Tucker's about a second second and a quarter, second and 10th behind. He's going to need some really good, solid laps here to try and close that distance with only 6 laps to go.
That lap, it looks like it was only about a 10th and a half, so not quite as quick that last lap. But with 6 laps to go, Gortman certainly still right there with Lem. Lem's doing what he can right now, trying to run his line, be as fast as possible, but also playing some defense at the same time.
Get back up front. Lem and Gortman, teammates, IRFK Racing, doing well here. This has just been I'm sure we'll hear in the interview, these guys will tell us it's a tough track to make a pass on.
Oh, certainly, but they've done a great job. The whole IRFK team has done a great job tonight. You see it time and time again where these guys find their way to the front, they link up, and they do a great job of helping each other out in spots, giving each other the draft, but also doing a great job of playing defense for one another. We saw Ramsdale in that first run of the second stage play some really good defense. He's fallen back now, but certainly an unsung hero for this IRFK team so far tonight. But obviously Lem and Gortman have been the stars of the show this second half of the race. And with 5 to go, we'll have to see if they can keep this battle amongst themselves or if Tucker and Wenzel can find their way up there. Looks like Tucker's still stuck at about that 1.2 second range. But he is within the draft of Lucas Gortman, as we see Gortman trying to break the draft behind. Almost playing a little bit of defense for his buddy and teammate out front of Lem. Doing what he can to keep Tucker back there. It looks like Tucker's had a big blink. Oh, he's back now. Disappeared for about the whole straightaway, so not a lot of draft going on for them, but see Gortman still playing that defense, and looks like Lem is liking what he's seeing out behind him.
4 laps to go here, as about to be 3, as Tyra Lem continues to lead here over Lucas Gortman.
Tyler stretched himself out a nice little gap here, about 6/10, doing a good job right now running his line. Gortman starting to play a little bit more defense behind. We see Lem starting to maybe try and break the draft or give it to Gortman, doing what he can here. 3 to go. Wenzel up Tucker's bumper, giving him some big shoves down these straightaways. Wenzel doing what he can to try and get them up into this fight. He understands that The more he can help Tucker, the more that he helps himself, as they are within a second of the leader, but more importantly within 5/10 of Gortman.
Battle continues, just they're running out of laps, just about 2.5 laps left to go. Gortman is slipping back just a little bit. Again, is it by design? Not sure. We'll find out in the interview. Stick around. We've got all three drivers on the podium. They'll be in the broadcast booth with us. Just a couple laps left to go here at Pocono.
Right now, all Tyler can think about is, how do I get this car around here as fast as I can 2 more times? More importantly, 1 more time. He wants to see that white flag, but he was 3/10 slower than both Tucker and Wenzel that last lap. So certainly Tyler seems to be struggling a little bit here, but with Gortman being his wingman and lead blocker, it could be tough. We see Wenzel and Tucker linked up down this whole long pond straightaway, doing what they can to try and get themselves in contention, but 7/10 to make up in 1 lap is going to be a hard thing to do, especially when you got to go through Gortman to get to Tyler.
All right, 2 to go. White flag flies here at Pocono in the Schade's Auto Repair 200. Tyler Lem out in front. He's got his teammate behind him, but Jordan Wenzel strategically is trying to get around the zero of Tucker, takes it away, and gets on the podium.
Yeah, I think Wenzel finally realized that his quest to try and get up there to second was probably about over. But Tucker now going to try and look back to the inside of Wenzel, but more importantly right now, for the lead, Tyler Lem. He's got about 3/10 over Lucas Gortman. With 1 corner to go, all Tyler needs to do is hit his marks 1 more time, and he will bring it back around to see the checkered flag as he dives it into 3. 1 more time, doing what he can to get that thing around.
Lem out of the final corner, headed to that start-finish line to see that checkered flag wave. And Tyler Lem wins the Schade Auto Repair 200 here at Pocono.
What a drive from Tyler Lem. Been good and consistent all year. Finally breaks through to get his first win of the season, and probably wanted that one a little sooner than Pocono, but he's been running good all season. Good to see him finally get it across the start-finish line and get himself a win this year.
Yeah, that's going to vault him out of that 10th spot and possibly get him up contending for a 5th in the overall season points.
Certainly a big points day for Lem. Big day for IRFK. Winning the stage, finishing 1-2 in the race. Wenzel coming home P3. Obviously Steve Tucker there in 4th. We'll go through the rest of them whenever we get the finishing results, but big day for IRFK, and a lot of guys finding their way back up into the top 10 after, you know, having some adversity as well.
We'll let this champion Lem make his way around to the start-finish line. They'll line up for their photos. We'll get a little bit of a burnout, and then we'll bring you the final order here. That's your finish. Lem, Gortman, Wenzel.
Great job by those guys, managing the green flag pit stops, managing the lead of the race, making sure they're doing a good job of controlling everything. Just a very well run race from Tyler, Lucas, and as well as Wenzel. Just doing what they had to do to put themselves in position. Looks like Tyler might be a little rusty on this burnout here. He's got to practice these a little bit more, but hopefully this is something that he can get back to doing a little bit more regularly, and hopefully in the coming weeks we can see a little bit better burnout from him.
All right, so there you have it. Tyler Lem wins the race. Lucas Gortman in 2nd. Jordan Wenzel finishes in 3rd. Notables, Matt Parasini gets the Hard Charger Award, up 8 positions from his qualifying effort. Most laps led still by Lucas Gortman, 32 laps. Fastest lap went to Brian Jones. And our pole sitter, obviously Lucas Gortman. So top 10 Well, a finishing order. Go ahead, kick us off, Jordan.
Yeah, so obviously we've gone through the top three. Steve Tucker finishing in fourth, and Schade finishing in fifth. Walden in sixth. Hard charger Matt Pearson. We've seen him go from the back to the front a lot of times this season. He comes home seventh. Corey Ennis with a solid eighth. Brian Jones battles back from some damage to finish ninth, and then Jake Musso avoids the barrels and brings it home 10th.
Vince Burns finishes in 11th with Keith Fonseca in 12th. Eric Jeffers in 13th. Zach Carter in 14th. Jeff Ramsdell in 15th. Daryl Young in 16th. Austin Walton in 17th. Mike Wheel in 18th with Joe Torres in 19th. Tony Yaps finishes in 20th. Rounding out the finishing order, Reeder, Gherkin, Wheeler, and Brandon McKee. All right, with that, let's see if we can grab Mr. Jordan Wenzel for an interview here. All right, Jordan, congratulations on your finish there. Heck of a battle out there tonight.
Yeah, it was insanely hard to pass. If you didn't have the draft, you just got sucked into the back. So it was pretty much run the high line.
Yeah, we saw that it looked like for a while there you were doing your best to try and figure out a way to partner up with Tucker and try to catch those leaders, but just wasn't having it.
Yeah, I did what I could. We were able to make up a second by doing that, but it just to the point where they were just too far ahead, and I got separated from Lucas on the pit stop, and that the rest is history. They drove off into the sunset.
So, Wenzel, we obviously noticed a lot of this race was just track position, track position, track position. Did the tires feel like they wore at all during the race, or was it more so just, battling dirty air all day and kind of just slot cars?
I would say it's maybe the tires wore within the last 5 laps of the fuel run, but it was just you stayed in line up until the corners, and then you found a place where there wasn't anybody else. So you just tried to stay out of everybody else's air.
Well, congratulations on your finish. Any shout outs tonight?
Oh, got to shout out my friends that are always watching, Cam and Jess, team over there, SFM, SFM2. You guys for broadcasting this, and yeah, hopefully we'll have a better run next week at San Diego.
Absolutely. Well, good luck with that. That's your third place finisher tonight, Jordan Wenzel, coming home just outside of that win. But good luck next week.
Thank you.
All right, let's go move on to Mr. Gortman. Lucas, congratulations on your second place finish there. Man, challenging track for sure.
Yeah, very difficult to pass. I mean, with the aero of these cars and everything, I knew kind of what the game plan was coming in. It just depended on if we got some green flag runs, where cautions fell, stuff like that. Thankfully, we got that long green flag run, which falls right into Tyler and I's hand. And at that point, just kind of had the green flag pit stops, got a good run on Jordan, good gap, and I tried to get to Tyler, but the dirty air, you could not get to him. And at that point, I was like, all right, well, we'll just work together here. Like Jordan and Tucker were working together trying to catch us. But 2 races in a row for the team, finishing 1-2.
Mm-hmm.
So huge team points and just an overall gain as well on the regular season standings.
It was certainly a great run out of IRFK, Lucas. I had a couple questions to ask you. The first one, obviously, we've all been in that situation where you have a teammate in front of you and you're racing for the win. How much of it was really, all right, I really want to go get this win, and how much of it in the back of your mind was, all right, let me just play some defense and really solidify this win for Tyler and help him out in the point situation?
Because we were speculating in the booth. I'll just say that much.
Yeah, so always I want to win, and Tyler and I have always talked about, like, hey, we want to fight each other for the win, but not wreck each other. We've had this conversation many times where if he's in second or I'm in second, we want the other one to go for the win. But I told him, I was like, dude, I couldn't get there if, like, if I tried. Like, I mean, I got close a couple times, but then those last few laps, like I was trying to lock up bumpers with him, kind of similar to like what Winslow and Tucker were doing. I couldn't get there. I was trying different lines, trying to get out of the dirty air, just could not get there. And then I looked at my tires. I burned my right front up. So that probably played a huge hand in it. But really would have liked the win. But, you know, it just feels really good for Tyler to get that one, especially with all the bad luck he's had in the early part of the season.
Most certainly. And then the second question I had to ask, kind of an unsung hero of the IRFK camp seems to be Ramsdale. Especially in that race, he was a little off strategy from you guys, but certainly was able to hold his own, especially before that pit stop. What's the team dynamic that you guys got going on over there at IRFK? Because every week it seems y'all are racing right on top of each other and doing a really good job of working together as a team.
So we kind of compared ourselves to the actual RFK team. You know, Tyler's like the Brad Keselowski. You know, he has those good runs, just no luck at all. I'm kind of like that Chris Buescher guy. You know, like kind of up towards the front majority of the time. Ramsdale, Wheeler, they kind of fall into that Ryan Preece spectrum. But like I coach them. You know, as much as I can. I'm not trying to be like, oh, you know, I have this ego or whatever, but anything that I have, and I take from them as well. So like they'll learn something, they'll tell me, I learn something, I'll tell them, and we just kind of work together and just strategize together, and just become one unit as a whole. So that's why you'll see us, if we're up towards the front, we're all up towards the front. If we're towards the back, we're all towards the back. So, you know, we all kind of just strategize together, and it works most of the time.
And clearly, you guys have been super successful.
I'd certainly give yourself a little bit more credit than Chris Buescher. I think you win a little bit too frequently to be compared to Chris Buescher, man. But great run for you guys. Any shout outs that you have tonight?
Oh yeah, as always, praise God. You know, every single day I wake up and just being able to do these things. You know, it's a blessing every single time I get to open my eyes. My lovely wife, who should be watching, unless she fell asleep, I'm not sure yet. My daughter, just Tyler. Just congrats to Tyler, man. He really needed this one, so I'm super happy for him. His Pocono prep really came into play. Make sure you ask him about that. Wheeler, Jeff, Keith, you guys for broadcasting, and all the admins and all the drivers in this league. Wouldn't have it without any of you guys, so thank you.
You got it. All right, that's Lucas Corbin finishing here in second, but with that, we'll bring in your winner. Tyler Lem joins us here in the broadcast booth. Tyler, congratulations.
Long time no see, boys. Thought y'all didn't want to talk to me anymore.
Door was always open. It was up to you to step through it.
And it feels good to be back. I want to start off by shouting out my teammates, man. I think I got the best group of guys in this league. We work together better than anyone else, and helped me get to the front, helped me stay there.
Well, we talked to Lucas a little bit about that team dynamic, Tyler, and it seems that you guys got a great bunch going on over there. So we've heard you be compared to Brad Keselowski, and obviously last year, Brad didn't quite nail the Pocono strategy quite like my man Briscoe. So what was your strategy going into this race, and how were you able to be a little bit better than Brad was last year?
Well, I made sure I knew when pit road was open and closed, and honestly, it just came down to clean air. It's one of those racetracks, as you know, and I've made a big emphasis this season of getting on and off pit road pretty well. And I think I was P3 with the two in front of me pitting, and just made up some time somehow, some way. Felt like I kind of babied it in there, but you know, my virtual pit crew helped me out, got me out in front, and then from there, we just had a big enough gap to Jordan to where I was just able to drive my race.
Well, it certainly showed. We'd be remiss if we didn't ask about your Pocono prep. What was your strategy?
Oh, I had a few beers sitting out on the lawn.
There you go.
That's all that goes into it. It's Pocono, baby. We gotta get in that Pennsylvania state of mind up in the mountains.
Pretty good strategy there.
Yeah, it certainly paid off, that's for sure.
Absolutely. We've been working too hard on San Diego. Pocono is just an afterthought. So to go 1-2 here, that just shows the quality of team we have. And, you know, it's going to snatch that team points lead back and try and hang on through these road courses. But, yeah, I'm excited to battle it out with these SFM guys going down to the wire.
Well, Tyler, I have one more question here before we ask you about your shout outs, but obviously I've raced with you for quite a while now, and we obviously understand the dynamic. What would you say the dynamic shifted this year? Obviously you've been caught up in a lot of wrecks and things like that, but you've also obviously now gotten a win this year, and you've kind of felt out the dynamics in all the racing and all the different parts of the pack. So just give us kind of your insight as to what this league has to offer this year as far as kind of the racing dynamic and how everybody, treats each other.
I think the league is honestly a fever pitch when it comes to aggression. Like front to back, these guys are all fast. Everyone knows that you can't give an inch with the way this car handles. And so everyone has started racing like you really can't give anyone an inch. And I was on the downside of that earlier in the year. Felt like I was in a big hole. It's been fun to really climb my way out of it. I've had my spirits down at sometimes, but at the end of the day, you just got to put your head down and try and get to the front.
Well, congratulations on your win. I'm sure this is going to be super helpful as we march towards the chase here. So congratulations with that. Shout outs tonight.
Oh, I have my Meemaw Gabby and my Pop Tom. They chipped in big time. They helped me get a new wheel earlier in the season, and finally get to thank them on air for it. I appreciate that so much. Couldn't do it without them, and they watch every race, as does my dad. So shout out to my family. I love you all.
All right, there you have it. Your winner here at Pocono in the Schade Auto Repair 200. Tyler Lem notches his first win of the season as we march towards the chase. Jordan, any thoughts as we wrap this one up?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, just a huge shout out to Tyler. I've raced against that dude for what feels like generations now. Obviously, it's only been, a couple of years, but he's just one of those guys that you see week in, week out. He keeps his head down. Yeah, he races you hard, but you don't have to worry about Tyler doing something that's just going to ruin your race. And, it's just one of those kind of feel good stories here for Tyler. You always see him running up towards the front, but never quite gets the glory like he probably deserves. So just a huge shout out to Tyler and that whole IRFK camp. They got some good things working over there. And then obviously, just a lot of these drivers there, they kept it really, really clean. We didn't really see the chaos that can divulge on these restarts, especially at a track like Pocono. And it really allowed these guys to show off some long run speed. Matt Parasini, Garrett Walden, they went from back to front all race long, and were able to use that kind of long run strategy to really pay it off. So just some really good racing from the field overall, and just a kind of a really really feel good winner in a sorts.
There you go. All right, there you have it, folks. Our broadcast here of the Schade's Auto Repair 200. Your winner, Tyler Lem. A couple broadcast notes. So next 2 weeks are road courses, and we're not going to be here on Thursday nights to cover those, but we'll come back in a couple weeks for Chicagoland Speedway. If you're still wanting to see those road courses, tune in on Wednesday nights. We'll pick up at least one of those in a couple weeks. But we'll bring you that in the IWM series. So thank you again, all those who have tuned in live on both YouTube, X, or TikTok. We thank you for watching, and we hope to see you next time. So from Jordan and myself, good night, folks, and we'll see you next time.